All right, ready to go?
Ready.
Cool. We've got about 7 miles directly that way, which should be a really nice reach.
Awesome.
And what, there's 12 to 20 knots of wind.
Yeah.
So maybe a little more coming through these little cuts. So I think we just leave the mainsail down. We go in full cruise mode, drink a coconut water on our way up there.
Sounds awesome.
If we need more power, we can roll out the Genoa.
We've got options on this boat.
We've got options.
All right, let's do it.
All right, anchor up.
You ready, Roxy?
Let's go.
Let's do it.
This week on Sailing Sweet Ruka, we leave behind the World War II battleground of Wotje Island and make a strategic choice to sail through the atoll to 2 bomby-filled anchorages, one of which is uninhabited. We're relying on the minimal protection offered by the islets in the atoll to shield us from gusty winds and swells, but things don't go quite as planned. Join us, Kate, Curtis, and Roxy the dog, as we continue on our journey around Cape Horn and the Cape of Good Hope, chasing our dream of completing a circumnavigation. Don't forget to hit subscribe and come along for the ride.
I've never been so close before.
It's not Cape Horn sailing, but a girl could get used to this. However, dodging the bombies in a minimally charted remote atoll creates its own challenges. We are making this short hop in the atoll so that our next passage to the atoll of Likiep can be completed during a day sail. 7 miles now feels like a drop in the pond, when previously we used to take full crews out on Wednesday night beer cans for the same mileage. It felt good to slow down and enjoy the view and crack open a coconut.
Doesn't like some nice coconuts.
Roxy wants a coconut.
It's weird to think that this lagoon was once filled with battleships, planes, bombs, and gunfire. People being misplaced from their homes and nations battling over such a small mass of coral in the middle of the ocean. This isn't some type of artfully curated museum we've visited. This atoll was a battleground, with haunting and sometimes dangerous artifacts sprinkled throughout the backyards of the inhabitants. For many, World War II is but a distant memory, but for the people of Wotje, it's part of everyday life. So, are we in danger on Wotje Island? The unexploded bombs from World War II in the Marshall Islands and other areas can still explode today under certain conditions, particularly if disturbed. These bombs are often carefully handled by experts, who either safely detonate them in place or remove them for controlled disposal. We encounter plenty of dangers while sailing, but this is a new one.
We are just a few miles away from Ormed, however you say it, island, at the north end of Wotje Atoll. We tried anchoring for lunch off of one of the eastern little motus, but the drop-off was pretty sharp. We weren't able to get our anchors set in what was like kind of a really shallow sand over hard coral. So it's blowing pretty good, maybe up into the 20s. Anyway, we're having a great little day sail up here towards the north end of Wotje Atoll. I'm enjoying driving the boat. Of course, we're going really, really slow. We're only using our staysail, keep the speeds down so we can really explore and see what's going on. So we're going about 3 to 4 knots. It's really nice.
Being a 4K SB really allows us to take in the sights, which we're not used to. So every now and again, it's nice to slow down and smell the flowers or whatever they say.
I've been in your waters, been knocking at your door. I know one thing for sure, I've never been so close before. It's one way or the other, no way in between. I ain't getting any younger, and you will stay forever a dream.
Ormed Island in Wotje Atoll has only about 20 inhabitants. They rely on things like fish, coconuts, pandanus, and other local fruits, and many of them farm copra to live this remote lifestyle. We dropped our anchor perfectly in a nice sandy patch amongst the coral heads, but the swell was wrapping around the islands, making it a bit uncomfortable for the night. So, why did we sail to this small island? It's part of a larger plan to sail to Wotje Atoll. If we had left from Wotje Island directly, the trip would have been about 80 nautical miles, requiring travel during the early morning hours in complete darkness. With this stop and our next stop at Goat Island, we could cut the trip down to about 45 nautical miles in the 2.5 meter seas of the open ocean by taking the Western Pass. This means that we could make it to Wotje during the daylight hours and time our arrival to the pass with better lighting. So, after one quick night, we were on to the next leg of the journey. Alright guys, time to up the anchor and keep sailing. Alright guys, the anchor is up and we are just motoring west toward Goat Island on the west side of Wotje Atoll. We're just charging the batteries, woo, and enjoying the rolly downwind waves here. The anchorage is supposed to be fairly well protected, but it's hard to tell with the waves that come in through the pass and the changing, shifting wind conditions. So we'll see what it's like when we get there. If not, we might continue on to Wotje, but for now, we're just gonna keep going this way and see what happens as we make this 20-mile trek. All right, catch back up with you later. Goat Island is not usually the cruiser destination of choice. The anchorage can be subject to strong swells from the big fetch, and the number of coral heads near the island are treacherous. You can just make out some shallow spires that reach up to the surface from the 100 feet of depth. Can you imagine trying to navigate these waters before we had satellite charts? Speaking of charts, you'll notice that not much is charted in terms of nautical charts, and so depths and dangers are something we have to look for through the glare of the sun. We heard from locals that sailboats and drugboats have washed up on the ocean side of the islands, one of which you can see from the satellite chart. We even found a website offering for you to purchase private areas of their resort on this remote island. They claim you can buy a dome to sleep in and get a massage at the local spa. Jet skis and pickleball courts are among other attractions they offer. However, we didn't see any of that. It sounds too good to be true, so is it? Let us know what you think in the comments. The small curve in the island may offer some protection from the swell, but we aren't holding our breath. As we got closer to the anchorage and started to find our way through the bommies, something unexpected happened.
Pretty wavy all the way up there. But, we'll find out. Maybe if we get really close to shore, we can okay. Whoa, our chair! Look, chair!
An impromptu man overboard drill is called into action. During our change in direction, the now stronger apparent wind swept one of our foldable chairs right off the transom.
Eye on where that shallow spot is, okay?
The 20 knots of wind and chop begin to carry it away right towards the shallow spires, so we make the quick decision to turn around and execute the drill.
I want to get him to leeward! Leeward! Point to him! Come on, go! Back.
After the drill, we're on the hunt for a safe spot to rest for the night. But the swell is massive, tossing us back and forth, and it's clear this anchorage isn't as sheltered as we'd hoped. Under the bright sun, we squint at the maps, scanning the horizon, searching for any sign of safe harbor. The sea is unforgiving. No protection from the wind, and hidden coral heads lie beneath the surface, impossible to spot in the choppy water and the ripples whipped up by the breeze. Still, we decide to hunt for a spot to drop anchor.
How's our angle of our chain?
The first anchor down we tried, we ended up with a dark bommy right behind the rudder.
With this much wind and wave action, I'd like more scope or less.
Yeah.
We can always pick it up and move. Well, like something we can maybe do is go right behind this guy. Now, who knows? Maybe you go over the top of this guy and you stick your fins down and hands up, and he's.
Yeah.
I jumped in the water to find it was only 4 feet below the surface. With 6 feet in tides, we decided this was too close and decided to re-anchor in another spot. In these aft-facing shots, you can really see how rolly the anchorage is.
We got to pick it up, right? I got to do a really quick spin, right? And I'm going to come right back out. I'm going to try and stick where I've been in my GPS, okay?
Okay.
And this is pretty clear back here. So like this, we've circled through, okay?
Okay.
So actually, if I can come right over here and drop, so I'm thinking we can drop just behind this guy maybe. Let's have a look, and that looks pretty okay.
Okay.
The anchor seemed to be holding, but we both knew we'd sleep better at night if we could see what was going on, so I jumped in the water to have a look. Some deep coral heads did not present a threat, and the chain seemed fine. Not great for long term, but it would do for the night. The anchor wasn't all the way buried, but wasn't moving and the conditions weren't expected to change. Early in the morning, we would start our trek towards the Western Pass and sail out into the open ocean toward the atoll of Likiep, where stories of European settlers, Japanese occupation, and nuclear testing fallout would be shared with us. Was making these short hops a good tactical navigational decision? While we managed to save ourselves an overnight passage, the Rolliest Anchorage was not the most comfortable. However, we weren't actively on watch for ships, or sail changes, or massive squalls. Stay tuned next time as we head back out into the Pacific Ocean with its large, choppy seas. As we sail on through these wild waters, we're reminded just how unpredictable the sea can be. From the man overboard drill to navigating the Rolliest Anchorages, each challenge brings us one step closer to our ultimate goal, circumnavigating the globe. A special thank you to our patrons for making these videos possible. And please support us by liking and sharing this video. Don't forget to click subscribe and come along for the ride. See you next time!